Distribution describes the whole capitalist and consumer market. I mean, the word itself defines the whole flow of producers and consumers.
But yeah, and also which also, yeah. So the supply network has grown so massive that some of these items, some of these consumer goods that we're finding, the physical ones, are becoming more and more expensive based on like the actual cost of distribution. Like, for instance, like a big ticket item like a computer or a television, right? The cost of distribution is a small proportion of the actual cost of the item, but something small ticket like bananas, for instance, right? Or bread. Well, no, bread is usually local, so bananas is way better. Bananas, at least half the cost is through the way of distribution. They're cheap. Bananas, you can buy bananas for, you buy a banana for 35, 40 cents.
Right, for sure.
And guaranteed that it cost a hell of a lot more to ship that thing to me than it did to produce it. But I find that the mass production aspect of things doesn't really fit within the unique object realm unless you have a way of actually producing that en masse in a way that does not diminish the original quality of the product. For me, a painting is tactile, it has like layers and thickness, a sculpture is in the round. It is not something that you can mass produce unless you're doing and you can unless you're doing wax molds and producing bronze sculptures. The same with photography. Easy. Printmaking, wonderful example of a semi-unique object that is produced that has a way of implying the importance of that objectness, but is also part of the mass. There's this new, I found out, Lulu, and I'm sure there are multiple other sites. Lulu is an on-demand publishing house. So if you need a book, you produce a book, you submit the book to Lulu. Lulu will then ship that book on demand. Like they will just produce one copy, right?
Right.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, it sounds like Cafe
Who needs
Press.
to have, because you need so much capital.
It reminds me
used to be.
It reminds me of CafePress.com, and I believe they do the same kind of thing. If you want to have your logo printed up on 5 cups instead of, say, the minimum order of 250 cups, which might send you back, say, $2,000.
Yeah.
That's not going to be an option for somebody who just wants to get their name and promote themselves.
It has changed the way that we do business. It has changed the way that we find the things that we want, and it has changed the way that the people that make the things that we want make them available to us.
Right. So you're mass producing, or rather digitally reproducing in a mass quantity of original work for the masses.
Yeah, and then it gets exponential when you start talking about writers and musicians, right? Because they have a product that is uniquely suited to the mass music, and novels, poetry, writings, period. These two things have they're perfectly suited to this. There is, of course, the underground sort of thievery that occurs within that. At the same time, people still buy. Sites like iTunes, for instance, that has I'm sure that has made many a musician a deal of money without really having to do very much other than do what they love.
I know a lot of musicians who have their full CDs, several CDs, pretty much all their music, and they just throw it up on their website and they're like, download it, love it, feel it, spread it, tell all your friends about it. It's great, And then ultimately, they're making their money off people showing up and seeing him perform live or her perform live, and that's where their real money is, because they're trying to do this. Eventually they'll sell CDs at local shows, and frankly, the CDs I buy are usually from musicians at their shows. I've liked it so much; it's pretty much the ultimate tip that you can give is, "I'll buy your CD."
Yeah, because you are now stepping outside of the middleman, right? You want to buy
books,
music.
Do you want to buy music?